Healing is easy. The world just told you it was hard. Imagine for a second that you've been carrying a massive heavy backpack for years. I'm talking about a pack filled with bricks, bricks of what if, bricks of I'm not enough, and bricks of something is wrong with me. You've grown so used to the weight that you don't even realize it's there anymore. You just think life is supposed to feel this heavy. You think your back is supposed to ache, your jaw is supposed to be tight, and your breath is supposed to be shallow. You assume everyone feels this way. And then someone walks up to you, stands right behind you, and simply unclips the chest strap and the waist belt. That click, that tiny plastic sound, is the moment your body realizes it doesn't have to fight gravity anymore. That is what healing actually feels like. It isn't a mountain you have to climb with that heavy pack on. It's the act of finally, once and for all, putting the pack down. We've been told for so long that healing is this grueling, complicated, clinical, and incredibly expensive process. We're told we need the right expensive supplements, the perfect 10-step morning routine, years of intense therapy, and a library of books to finally feel okay. But what if all of that is actually just adding more bricks to the backpack? What if the reason you feel so stuck isn't because you haven't done enough, but because you're trying too hard to fix something that isn't actually broken? Think about your life right now. Think about the pressure to level up, to grind, to heal your inner child, to fix your gut, to be mindful. It feels like a second job, doesn't it? It feels like you're a broken car in a repair shop that never actually gets fixed. They just keep finding new parts to replace and charging you for the labor. You aren't a car. You aren't a machine made of cold metal and wires. You're a living, breathing, pulsing ecosystem. And ecosystems don't need to be fixed. They just need the right conditions to flourish. If you give a forest enough water and light, the forest heals itself. It doesn't need a project manager. It doesn't need a manual. Your body is a healing machine. Its favorite thing to do is to heal. It's been doing it since before you were born. If you cut your finger while you're making dinner, you don't have to sit there on the sofa and concentrate really hard to make your finger and your skin knit back together. You don't have to stay up late reading a manual on how to create white blood cells or how a scab goes over a wound. You just stay out of the way. You keep it clean and your body does the rest. It does the miracle work while you're watching a movie or sleeping. Healing your mind and your nervous system works the exact same way. It's a natural, automatic, baked-in process that happens the very second you stop trying to give your body reasons to stay in a state of emergency. The problem, the reason we feel so exhausted, is that most of us are living in a permanent state of emergency. We're like a car that's being revved in neutral at 6,000 RPMs. The engine is screaming. The heat is rising, the oil is burning, and we're wondering why we aren't moving forwards. We think the solution is to fix the engine, to buy better fuel, or to change the tires. But the solution is actually just to take our foot off the accelerator, the gas. This is the shift from force to power. Force is when you try to bully yourself into being better. It's when you tell yourself you shouldn't be anxious, or you should be more productive, or you should be over the breakup by now. That's just more pressure. That's more gas on the fire. Power is when you create an environment where your body feels safe enough to let go. I want you to think about your nervous system like a security guard. Let's call him the guardian. This guardian is incredibly loyal. He loves you more than anything else on earth. His only job in the world is to keep you alive, and he doesn't care if you're happy. He doesn't care if you're successful. He only cares if you're alive. If he thinks there's a threat, he's going to ring the alarm. He's going to make your heart beat faster to pump blood in your legs so you can run. He's going to make your muscles tight so you can fight. And he's going to shut down your digestion and immune system because you don't need to digest lunch or fight a cold if you're about to be eaten by a lion or a tiger. But here's the glitch. In our modern world, the guardian can't tell the difference between a literal lion and a stressful email from your boss. He can't tell the difference between a car crash and a memory of something embarrassing you said when you were 12. He can't tell the difference between a real threat and the way you talk to yourself in the mirror. To the guardian, it's all a threat. It's all a reason to keep the fire alarm ringing. If you're a 17-year-old and you're sitting in a classroom and suddenly your heart starts racing and your palms get sweaty and you feel like you can't breathe, that's just the guardian doing his job. He's noticed something, maybe a tone of voice from a teacher, maybe a thought about your exams, maybe just a feeling of being trapped, and he's pulling on the fire alarm. You aren't crazy, you aren't broken, you don't have a disorder, you're just being protected by a guard who's a little bit too jumpy because he's tired. Healing is easy because it's just the process of walking over to the guardian, putting a hand on his shoulder and saying, "Hey, thank you for watching out for me. I know you're trying to help, but the war is over. We're safe now. You can sit down." When the guardian stands down, your body automatically switches from survival mode to repair mode. This isn't something you have to force, it's something you allow. The repair crew is already inside you. They have the tools, they have the blueprints, and they're just waiting for the alarm to stop so they can get to work fixing the cells, balancing the hormones, and clearing out the mental fog. You don't have to hire the crew. They've been on the payroll since the day you were born. You just have to let them into the building. Let's look at why we think it's hard. We think it's hard because we've been sold a story that more is better. We think if we aren't crying in a therapist office, we aren't doing the work. But think about a 17-year-old athlete. When they get injured, the doctor doesn't say, "Go and run a marathon to fix your leg." The doctor says, "Rest, ice, compression, elevation." They tell you to do less. The work is actually resting. The work is non-doing. In our culture, we hate that. We hate to feel like we have to feel like we earned our health. We have to feel like we're conquered our anxiety. You don't conquer anxiety, you outgrow it by creating safety. Imagine you're trying to tame a wild horse. If you run at the horse, waving your arms and screaming, "Calm down," what's the horse going to do? It's going to kick you, it's going to run away, and it's probably going to be terrified of you. That's what we do to our own minds. We scream at ourselves to be calm, we judge ourselves for being stressed, we try to discipline our nervous system. But if you want to tame that horse, you just go over and sit in the field. You don't move, you breathe. You show the horse that you aren't a threat. Eventually the horse gets curious, eventually the horse walks over to you, and this is how healing works. You stop being a threat to yourself. The reason most people fail to heal is that they are looking for a solution outside of themselves. They want to pill, a person, or a program to fix them. But you are the program. Your heart knows exactly how many times to beat, your lungs know exactly how much oxygen you need, your skin knows exactly how to knit back together. The only thing you need to provide is the environment. If you put a plant in a dark closet and it starts to turn yellow, you don't call the plant broken, you don't give the plant therapy, you don't give the plant a lecture on why it should be green, you just move it into the window. You give it light, you give it water, and the plant that was broken starts to heal itself immediately. Most of us are living in the dark, in the closet, of chronic stress, negative self-talk, and constant digital noise. We're turning yellow, metaphorically, and we're being told that we need more information to get better. No, you need more light. You need more safety. You need to remember that your healing is your default setting. If you aren't healing right now, it's only because there's an obstacle in the way, and usually that obstacle is the belief that you have to fight for it. Let's talk about the science of this for a minute, but let's keep it real. We talk about heart rate variability, or HRV. Now, you can go read 500 medical papers on this, but here's all you really need to know. HRV is just a measure of how much your body trusts you. When your HRV is low, your heart is beating like a drummer who only knows one beat. Bang, 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 bang. It's rigid, it's scared, it's waiting for the floor to drop out. When your HRV is high, your heart is like a master jazz musician. It's fluid, adaptable, changes the rhythm based on your breathing, your thoughts, and the world around you. When you have high HRV, you are resilient. That means life throws a brick at you, you don't shatter. You're like a rubber ball, you bounce. When you have low HRV, you're like a piece of dry glass. The smallest vibration makes you crack. Most people think they need to strengthen their heart to get high HRV. No, you need to relax the system so the heart feels safe enough to play jazz again. You don't teach the drummer how to play jazz by yelling at him. You give him a stage where he feels comfortable enough to experiment. Think about a 17-year-old at a party where they don't know anyone. They're standing in the corner, phone in hand, shoulders up near their ears. They're in a state of low variability. They are rigid. They're on guard. Now they think about the same teenager at home with their best friends, laughing, joking, relaxing on the couch. They're in high variability. They are fluid. They are healing. Which version of that person is the real them, or both? But one version is under threat and the other version is in safety. Healing is just the process of making the home with friends feeling your baseline, even when you're out in the world. And here's the best part. You can signal this safety to your body in seconds. You don't need a PhD. You don't need to retreat to the mountains. You don't need to change your data you're giving to your security guard. If you're staring at your phone, scrolling through the news, that makes you angry. Your guard is getting that data in seconds. The world is ending if you're hunched over a laptop. Your guard is getting that data and says, we're bracing, ready for a fight. But if you look up at the horizon, you soften your eyes, if you let your tongue rest on the floor of your mouth, rest your jaw, and you exhale longer than you inhale, the data changes. The guard looks at that and says, oh, my mistake. I thought there was a fire, but it's a sunset. We stand down now. And in that moment, the guard stands down, the repair crew starts. Your digestion turns back on, your immune system starts patrolling for viruses, your brain starts clearing out the junk that makes you feel foggy. This is why I say healing is easy, because it's built on things you already know how to do. You already know how to breathe, you already know how to laugh, you already know how to look at something beautiful. You've just been told those things are luxuries. They aren't. They're medicine. I'm building this Healing is Easy community on school because I'm tired of seeing people suffer because they think they aren't doing enough. I want to create a place where practice being safe is normal, where we track our heart rate variability, not to win a prize, but to see the proof that we are letting go. Now, I want to talk to the 17-year-old who thinks their anxiety is a life sentence and tell them, hey, your security guard is just a little over-enthusiastic. Let's give him a vacation. Imagine what happens to your life when you stop spending all your energy on fixing yourself. Imagine all that energy being returned to you. Imagine using that energy to create, to love, to play, to explore. And this is what a regulated life looks like. It's not a life without stress. Stress is a part of being alive. It's a life where you don't stay stressed. You're like a cat. A cat can go from dead sleep to a full sprint in seconds if it hears a noise. But as soon as the noise stops, the cat goes right back to sleep. It doesn't spend the next 3 hours wondering if the noise is going to come back. It doesn't write a journal entry about how the noise made it feel. It returns to balance. You were designed to return to balance. You were designed to heal. The only reason you aren't doing it right now is that you're still holding on to the straps of that backpack. You're afraid that if you put the pack down, you'll be vulnerable. But the truth is, the backpack is what makes you vulnerable. It makes you slow. It makes you tired. It makes you feel easy to get knocked over. So I'm asking you right now, as you watch this, can you just unclip that chest strap? Just that one. Can you admit, just for a second, that maybe you don't have to fight so hard? Can you feel the relief in that thought? That's the aha moment. That's the shift. That's the beginning of the rest of your life. Healing is easy because it's just the process of walking over to the guardian, putting a hand on his shoulder and saying, hey, thank you for watching out for me. I know you're trying to help, but the war is over. We're safe now. You can sit down. When the guardian stands down, your body automatically switches from survival mode to repair mode. This isn't something you have to force, it's something you allow. The repair crew is already inside you. They have the tools, they have the blueprints, they just are waiting for the alarm to stop so they can get back to work, fixing the cells, balancing the hormones, and clearing the mental fog. You don't have to hire the crew, they've been on the payroll forever. Now, let's look at the security guard we talked about, because if you don't understand him, you'll always feel like your own mind is your enemy. Imagine the guard lives in a small booth right at the center of your chest. He's been there since you're a toddler. When you were 3 years old, you almost ran into the street. He's the one who gave you that jolt of electricity that made you stop. He saved your life that day. When you're in school and someone was mean to you, he's the one who made you feel small and quiet so you wouldn't get picked on. He was protecting you then too. But now he's exhausted. He's like a soldier who's been in the trenches for 10 years without a single day of leave. He's twitchy. He's drinking way too much caffeine. And every time your phone pings with a notification, he thinks it's an incoming grenade. Every time your partner uses a certain tone of voice, he thinks the relationship is ending. He's not trying to make you miserable. He's just terrified of falling and failing his job. Imagine him sitting in that booth, surrounded by 1,000 screens. On one screen, there's the bank account. On the other, there's social media comment. On the other, there's a memory of a mistake you made in 2014. He's staring at all of them, waiting for something to go wrong. When you try to force yourself to be calm, it's like you're banging on the glass of his booth, screaming at him to relax. Does that make him relax? No. It makes him think the booth is being attacked. To heal, you have to stop being the boss who yells at him and start being the friend who brings him a warm meal. You have to walk up to that booth, not with a list of demands, but with a signal of peace. You say, hey, I see you. I see how hard you've been working and how hard you've been trying to keep me safe, and I appreciate you. But look outside. It's a sunny day. There are no lions. There are no grenades. You can put your head down for an hour. I'll keep watch. This is what happens when you do a slow exhale. You're literally taking over watch duty so he can sleep. And when he sleeps, the alarms stop. And when the alarms stop, your body heals. Now, let's talk about quicksand. This is exactly how most people approach their mental health. You feel an attack of anxiety coming on. It feels like the ground is turning soft beneath your feet. Your first instinct is to fight it. You think, I can't feel this way right now. I have to get out of this. So you start kicking, you start analyzing, you start Googling symptoms, you start calling people, and you're splashing and thrashing, trying to find something solid to grab onto. But the more you thrash, the more suction you create, and anxiety loves it when you fight it. Anxiety feeds on your resistance. Every time you say, I hate this feeling, the quicksand gets deeper. Every time you try to think your way out of a feeling, you're just basically pulling more sand over your head. The healing is easy way is to do one thing that feels terrifying. You lie back and you spread your arms wide. You make yourself as big and as soft as possible. You say to the anxiety, okay, you're here, I feel you, you can have me, and then a miracle happens. The second you stop fighting the sand, the physics change. The sand that was trying to swallow you up suddenly starts to hold you up. You realize that you can't actually drown in a feeling if you stop resisting it. You float. You stay on the surface. And from that place of floating, you can slowly, easily move toward the shore. Healing is the decision to stop kicking. Then there's the wild horse. Think of your spirit, your energy, your vibe as this magnificent, powerful horse. Most of us treat a horse like we're trying to break it in an old Western movie. We're pulling on the reins, we're digging in our spurs, we're trying to force it to go where we want to go. We want it to be productive. We want it to be happy, and we want it to be healed. But the horse is smarter than you. The horse can feel your tension. If your hands are shaking on the reins, the horse thinks, if my rider is scared, I should be terrified. So the horse bolts, it runs into the woods and will throw you off. The person who truly knows horses doesn't use force. They understand the power of presence. They go into the paddock and they just sit. They don't look at the horse. They don't call the horse. They just exist in the same space as the horse with the heart rate that is slow and steady. They are a calm anchor. Eventually, the horse's curiosity becomes stronger than its fear. It starts to sniff the air. It takes one step towards the human, then another. And this is how you heal your relationship with yourself. You stop chasing better. You stop trying to lasso your peace, and you just sit in the paddock of your own life and you breathe until the curiosity returns. You become so safe that your own joy decides to come back to you on its own. You don't have to catch it. You don't have to be a person worth returning to. Think about the plant in the closet. This is the ultimate proof that you aren't broken. If you take a beautiful, vibrant green fern and you put it into a dark closet for a month, what happens? Its leaves turn yellow. It gets brittle. It starts to droop. And the plant that was awesome now is sick. They might try to give it an anti-yellow medication. They might try and analyze the soil for childhood deficiencies, but you know the truth. There's nothing wrong with the plant. The plant is reacting perfectly to a bad environment. Its yellow leaves are a message saying, I need light. You're the plant. Your anxiety, your fatigue, your brain fog, these aren't defects. They are perfectly healthy reactions to a closet of environment that's got noisy or processed food or lack of movement or social isolation. Healing is easy because you don't have to fix your yellow leaves, you just have to move the pot. You move to the window, you give it a little sunlight, and you give it a little water. You don't have to tell the plant how to turn green again. It knows how, the green blueprint, it's inside it. And as soon as the light hits the leaves, the plant says, finally, and the healing begins. Your light is your nervous system safety. Your water is simple movement and hydration. The rest is automatic. Finally, we have the jazz drummer. This is your heart. People think the heart should be like a clock. Tick, 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 perfectly even. But a heart that beats perfectly even is actually a heart that's under a massive amount of stress. It's like a soldier marching. It's rigid. It's prepared for an attack. A healthy heart is a healing heart, is a jazz drummer. If the singer moves faster, the drummer moves faster. If the piano gets quieter, the drummer gets quieter. The drummer is constantly listening and adjusting. This is what we call heart rate variability. When you're stressed, you fire the jazz drummer and you hire a robot. The robot only knows one speed, it's boring, it's stiff, and it's exhausting. When you heal, you give the sticks back to the jazz drummer. You let your heart be messy and fluid. You let it speed up when you inhale, slow down when you exhale, the swing, the rhythm, the sound, your body repairing itself. You don't have to teach your heart how to play jazz. You just have to stop the robot taking over the stage. You do that by proving to the system that you're safe. These 5 things, the guard, the sand, the horse, the plant, and the drummer, are the only things you ever have to remember. Whenever you feel heavy, ask yourself, am I yelling at my guard? Am I kicking the sand? Am I spurring the horse? Am I sitting in the closet and am I attacking like a robot? The answer will always be yes. And the solution will always be the same. Let go. Step into the light and breathe. Why do we think healing has to be a war? We've been conditioned by a culture that worships the grind. We think that if we aren't sweating, crying, or bleeding, we aren't making progress. We see influencers talking about doing the work like they're getting into a coal mine. But let's look at the logic of that for a second. If you're already stressed and trying to work harder at healing, you're just adding stress to your stress. You're trying to put out a fire by throwing more wood onto it. Think about a 17-year-old trying to study for a massive exam. They've been up for 48 hours, they've had 6 energy drinks, and their eyes are vibrating. They are working hard, but are they learning? No. Their brain is closed for business. They're just staring at the same page for 3 hours. The best thing they could possibly do for their grade is to go and sleep. But they feel guilty sleeping because they think they have to work hard and that's the only path to success. Healing is the only area of life where trying harder actually makes you fail. If you try to force a smile, it looks like a grimace. If you try to force a sleep, you stay awake. If you try to force healing, you stay in survival mode. I want you to look at the world, or the word disease, literally as dis-ease, the opposite of ease. So if the problem is a lack of ease, how can the solution be more effort? It can't. So ease is the best medicine. Now let's look at the vagus nerve. This word that gets thrown around a lot in clinical circles, but let's make it simple. The vagus nerve is the information superhighway between your brain and your body. It's like a fiber optic cable that connects your headquarters to all your local branches. When you're in a state of ease, the cable is clear, the data flows perfectly, and your brain tells your heart to chill out, and your heart says, got it. Your brain tells your stomach to digest that pizza, and your stomach says, on it. Everything is synchronized. But when you are stressed, it's like there's a massive storm on the highway. There's a traffic jam, there's panic, the signal gets dropped, your brain is screaming, calm down, but your heart never gets the message because the line is busy with the security guard ringing the alarm. You can manually clear this highway. You don't need a technician. You are the technician. When you hum, when you gargle, when you take these long, slow exhales we talked about, you're literally pinging the vagus nerve. You're sending the test signal down the line that says, hey, is this thing on? We're safe over here, and as soon as the target, the signal gets through, the panic clears, the traffic starts moving. I want you to imagine a 17-year-old's bedroom. Floor's a mess, empty cans everywhere, no space to walk. It's stressful just to be in there. They might think they need to hire a professional cleaner or buy a whole new furniture system, but the easy way is just to pick up one shirt, then another, then another. You don't need a master plan for the room, you just need to stop adding to the mess. Most of our lives are like that messy room. We are constantly adding digital clutter, emotional clutter, and expectation clutter. Healing is simply the act of stopping the adding. You don't need a new philosophy. You need a delete button. You need to delete the idea that you are responsible for everyone else's happiness. You need to delete the idea that you are behind in life. You need to delete the belief that your worth is tied to your productivity. When you delete those things, space opens up, and in that space, the vagus nerve starts to hum. The heart starts to dance. The repair crew gets to work. Now, let's look at the language of safety. The body doesn't understand I'm fine. It's heard you say I'm fine while your teeth were clenched and your heart was pounding, so it knows you're a liar. To talk to the body, you have to use sensory truths. A sensory truth is something the body can't argue with. For example, my feet are touching the cold floor. The body checks, yes they are. This is a fact. I can feel the fabric of this shirt on my skin. The body checks, yes, I feel that too. When you give a body a string of 100% true physical facts, it begins to trust you again. It stops looking for lion in the bushes and starts looking at the room you're actually in. I see so many people trying to manifest their way out of trauma. They spend all day saying affirmations like I'm a billionaire, I'm perfectly happy, and I'm infinitely healthy. But if their nervous system is screaming I'm terrified, those affirmations are just another form of lying. It's like trying to paint a house that is currently on fire. You don't need paint, you need water. The water is the truth. The water is right now I am breathing. Right now I'm sitting in a chair. Right now there is no immediate physical danger. When you speak the truth, your body stops fighting you. It realizes you can trust your headquarters. This is the foundation of Healing is Easy method. We aren't trying to trick your body into being well. We are proving to the body that it's safe enough to be well on its own. Think about the 17-year-old at the job interview. They're nervous. Their body is in threat mode. If they try to act super confident, they just look stiff and weird. But if they try to acknowledge the truth, yeah, I'm a little nervous because I really want this job, suddenly the tension breaks. They become human again. They become relatable. Their system regulates because the lie is gone. Your healing journey has been a long string of lies. You've been lying to yourself that you should be further along. You've been lying that you need to be fixed. The truth is much simpler. You're a human being with a very loyal, very tired security guard. You're a plant that's been sitting in a closet for a little too long. You're a jazz drummer who's forced to act like a robot. And the solution is just as simple. Open the closet door, give the drummer his sticks back. Tell the guard he's done a great job and he can go home for the night. If you do these things, you'll find that you don't achieve healing, you stumble into it. You wake up one morning and you realize your jaw isn't tight for this first time in years. You realize you haven't thought about the old problem in 3 days. You realize that you actually have energy to go for a walk or talk to a friend. It didn't happen because you worked hard. It happened because you stopped working against yourself And it happened because you finally accepted the most radical, the most powerful, the most viral truth in the world. Healing is easy. Now, I want to talk about the future, specifically the idea that, we can help so many people, in fact, millions of souls, by telling people's security guard and helping people's security guard to finally see the truth. And that's why I've created a school community where we'll have, at least 10,000 members, ideally, helping each other to get out of the fight or flight response and to realize the frequency of ease. This is a ripple effect that we will change the world with. We'll feel it, our kids will feel it, our partners will feel it. We'll walk and breathe with so much safety and security, and your presence will be the medicine the world truly needs. But how do we get there from where you are right now? How do we make these big ideas and make the 17-year-old of ourselves, embrace this? We make it a game. And when we do this, the ultimate way is to make it so easy that we can win. And that's why we look at heart rate variability, because the old way is a heavy way. In our world, heart rate variability is just a game. We say, hey, I'm feeling a bit cold or I'm feeling a bit lonely. We don't judge it and we don't, give ourselves a hard time because of it. We just do everything we possibly can to find ease. We look at these numbers in our community not to be perfect, but to be curious. And curiosity is the ultimate state of a regulated nervous system. You can't be curious and terrified at the same time. It's biologically impossible. So every time you choose curiosity over judgment, you're healing. And I want you to think about the word sanctuary. Historically, a sanctuary was a place where the law couldn't touch you. If you were being chased, you stepped inside that sanctuary, you were safe. Your past didn't matter, your debts didn't matter, your mistakes didn't matter. This is what I'm building for you. A digital and emotional sanctuary where the law of stress no longer applies. In this space, we don't care about your map of consciousness or your vibration level in a clinical way. We care about how you feel when you wake up. Do you feel like you have to go to war today, or do you feel like you're going to the playground? If the answer is war, we have work to do. But it's the easiest work you'll ever perform. It's the work of unlearning the fight. Think about the 17-year-old who is obsessed with a video game. When they're playing the game, they're in a flow state. Their heart is variable, their focus is sharp, but their body is relaxed. They aren't trying to be in flow, they're just immersed in this experience. This is how your life is supposed to feel. Healing is the process of removing the lag from your system, and the lag is the trauma. The lag is the fear. The lag is the should. When we're clear from the lag, you move through life in real time. You are present, you are powerful, you are effortless. People ask me all the time, Darren, if healing is so easy, why is everyone so sick? And the answer is simple. There is $1 billion industry dedicated to making sure you stay in the closet. There is an entire economy built on your security guard being terrified. They want you to buy the next gadget, the next program, the next cure. If they told you that you already have everything you need, they'd go out of business. I'm okay with that. I want to put the hard healing industry out of business. I want to make ease the new standard. I want you to be so regulated that you don't need me anymore even. This is my goal, to be the last health guy you ever need to listen to, because you finally realize that the only healthy guru that matters is the one living inside your own rib cage. Let's look at the practical protocol for tomorrow morning. When you wake up, before you touch your phone, because that phone is a panic box filled with the lion data, I want you to just stay in bed for 60 seconds. I want you to feel the weight of your body on the mattress. That's a sensory truth. I want you to feel the temperature of the air on your face. That's a sensory truth. And then I want you to say out loud, the war is over, I am safe. Your security guard will hear that. He'll look around and see that you're just lying in bed, and he'll start to power down the alarms. He'll let the repair crew get an early start, and that 60-second habit is more powerful than a week-long detox retreat. Why? Because it's consistent. It's a daily signal of safety. It's daily unstrapping of the backpack. Now, ultimately, I want you to imagine you're in a room filled with people and you're playing your part. You're doing everything you possibly can to have a relaxed jaw, relaxed shoulders, and being as vibrant and calm as you possibly can. You're now making not only yourself at ease, but all the people around you at ease as well. This is part of the global nervous system sanctuary, and this is ultimately the mission of Healing is Easy. We're a tribe of people who have dedicated to stop fighting the quicksand. We're a tribe of people who have moved our pots into the sunlight. We're a jazz band with thousands of strong members, and we're playing the most beautiful music the world has ever heard. If you're listening to this and you feel that click, that tiny release in your chest, that's your invitation. That's your body saying yes, finally. Someone told the truth. I want you to follow that feeling. Don't analyze it. Don't overthink it. Just follow it. Come join us in our school community. Not because you're broken, not because you need to be fixed, but you're a magnificent ecosystem that deserves to flourish. I want you to take one more deep breath in with me and out. Feel that. That's the feeling. These words are settling into your cells and you're peaceful and calm. You don't have to remember everything I said. Your body remembers. Your vagus nerve remembers. Your heart remembers how to play jazz. You're not your trauma, you're not your diagnosis, and you're not your anxiety. You're in a space in which those things happen, and that space is always eternally safe. Healing isn't something you do, it's something you are. It's time to stop doing and start being. It's time to come home to yourself. Now that we've unstrapped the backpack and looked at the security guard, we have to talk about what you actually do when you walk out of your house tomorrow morning. Because the world is still going to be loud, people are still going to be stressed, and your phone is still going to buzz. If healing is easy, it has to work in the real world, not just in a dark room with your eyes closed. This is where we talk about the nervous system architecture. Imagine your day is a house. Most people build their house on a foundation of adrenaline. They wake up to a screaming alarm, which is a heart attack, basically signaling, go. They drink their coffee, which is more liquid stress, and they immediately check their emails, which is digital stress. And this is an invitation for other people's problems to become yours. By 8 a.m., the house is already shaky. They're already trying to heal while the walls are falling down. The Healing is Easy architecture is different. We build a foundation of somatic certainty. Somatic certainty is a physical fact that your body cannot argue with. For a 17-year-old, this might be feeling of the sneakers on the pavement. For you, it might be the weight of a heavy blanket. When you start your day by giving your body 5 certainties, you are building a house of stone rather than a house of cards. Let's look at the myth of motivation. We're told we need motivation to heal. We think we need to feel like doing our breath work or feel like going for a walk. But motivation is a feeling, and feelings are like the weather. They change every 5 minutes. If you wait until you feel like healing, you'll be waiting forever. The secret is that ease doesn't require motivation, it requires geometry. Geometry is how you set up your environment. If your phone is the first thing you see in the morning, the geometry of your room is designed for stress. If there is a glass of water and a window and curtains, the geometry is designed for healing. You don't have to try to drink the water or look out the light, they're just there. You made the right thing easy. Now, think about the echo of trauma. Many of you feel like you can't heal because you have too much history. You think your past is a giant anchor dragging you behind in the dirt. You think you have to go back and dig up every single memory to set yourself free. But I want you to imagine a bell. When you hit that bell, it rings. The sound is loud and then it slowly fades away. That fading sound is the echo. Most of what you're suffering from right now isn't the bell, the original event, it's the echo. You're reacting to the vibration that is still moving through your nervous system. You don't need to go back and unhit the bell. You can't. What you can do is dampen the vibration. You can do that by becoming soft. A bell can't ring when it's wrapped in a thick, soft tower. Your nervous system's safety is that tower. When you create safety in the present moment, the echoes of the past have nowhere to go. They hit the softness of your regulated state and they simply stop. The past doesn't go away, but it stops making noise. It stops vibrating in your chest. This is why we don't spend hours analyzing your trauma and your past history. We spend hours practicing presence because presence is the only thing thick enough to stop the echo. If you are 100% here, then your past can't hurt you. I want to talk about the 17-year-old genius. Why do I speak of the intellect of a 17-year-old? Because a 17-year-old is a perfect balance between bullshit detection and openness. They haven't been fully indoctrinated into the healing is hard cult yet. They still remember what it's like to have fun. They still think that the best things in life are usually the simplest. And if I can't explain a concept to a teenager, it means I don't actually understand it myself. Complexity is often just a mask for I don't know what I'm talking about. If someone tells you that you need to understand the complex interplay of your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis to be happy, they're trying to sell you something. If I tell you that you need to breathe out longer than you breathe in, I'm giving you your power back. Ease is the ultimate sophistication. Let's talk about the humorous heart. One of the greatest signs of a regulated nervous system is the ability to laugh, especially at yourself. When we're in survival mode, everything is serious. Everything is life or death. The security guard doesn't have a sense of humor. He doesn't think it's funny that you tripped or that you made a typo. He thinks it's a catastrophe. But when you heal, you start to see the comedy of the human condition. You realize that we're all just hairless monkeys trying to navigate a world of glass and silicon. You realize that your anxiety is just a very confused part of you trying to be helpful in the wrong way. When you can laugh at your security guard, not in a mean way, but in a, oh, there you go again, buddy, you have won. Humor is a safety signal that is louder than any affirmation. You can't laugh while you're being chased by a lion. So when you laugh, you're telling every cell in your body, we're safe. The coast is clear. In our school community, we laugh a lot. We laugh at the absurdity of hard healing in the hard healing world. We laugh at our own journey and jumpy nervous system. We treat our heart rate variability numbers like a fun game of, whoops, I got stressed there, rather than clinical diagnosis. This lightness is what makes the content binge-worthy. People are tired of being told they are broken and traumatized. They want to be told they are human and hilarious. Now imagine the viral ripple when, we hit millions of people with this information. It's about the fact that millions of people have decided to stop being serious about their healing and start being sincere. Sincerity is different from seriousness. Seriousness is heavy and sincerity is light. Seriousness is about the outcome. Sincerity is about the process. See, the kid who was scared, who felt out of place, who thought they had fixed themselves to be loved, and I want you to tell them the truth. You were never broken. You were just in the dark, and I'm here to turn the light on. As we close this masterclass, I want to give you the universal permission slip. You are hereby allowed to stop trying. You're allowed to be the imperfectly healed. You're allowed to have a nervous system that gets jumpy sometimes. And you're allowed to be a jazz drummer who occasionally misses a beat. This is the easy way. Healing is not a destination. It's the realization that the journey was never necessary in the way you thought it was. You don't have to go anywhere to be safe. You just have to be here. It's that easy. It's always been that easy. Thank you for being a part of this sanctuary. Thank you for choosing ease. I'll see you in the next video.